A good day to you, friends. Today we enter into the third week of Advent. The third Sunday of Advent is called Gaudete Sunday. Gaudete in Latin means rejoice, and rejoice is a prominent theme in the liturgy of today. The liturgical norms allows us to use the color rose in the vestments and also in the altar. Now why all of a sudden the color rose? Because this color is a symbol of hope, a symbol of joy. The pink hue which we see in the clouds at dawn on a clear day symbolizes that the sun is now about to rise. If we apply this to the biblical gospel narrative which we listen today, St. John the Baptist is the herald. St. John the Baptist announces the coming of Jesus Christ. The 3rd century theologian Origen says that whenever Jesus Christ appears in the gospel narratives, he is always preceded by John the Baptist. St. John the Baptist is the last of the prophets, and what all the Old Testament prophets longed to see in their life, who is the Messiah, who is the one to save Israel, St. John the Baptist saw in his own eyes, in his own lifetime. That is why every morning we sing in the liturgy of the hours of the church, we sing the Canticle of Zechariah. In the Canticle of Zechariah, which we call the Benedictus, St. John the Baptist is addressed, "You, my little child, you will prepare the way of the Lord." Therefore, my dear friends, Jesus Christ came in the flesh 2000 years ago, but He also comes and came to countless generations of Christians thereafter. He even comes to us today in the celebration of the Eucharist. Turning to the readings of today, my dear friends, St. Paul in his letter to the Philippians exhorts them, "Rejoice, rejoice in the Lord, and again I say rejoice." Now, rejoicing, my dear friends, is different from happiness. Happiness is something which we feel and which leaves us. It is very transient. Our happiness depends on our moods. Our happiness depends on whom we meet. Our happiness depends on experiences in our life. It fluctuates. Even within a given day, a person can be happy in the morning, sad in the evening. But joy is a completely different thing. It is a gift of the Holy Spirit. And for a person to actually be a joyful person, that person must pray for that gift. And joy in a person can be experienced in all states of life. It is an enduring disposition. Have you seen, my dear friends, people who seem to undergo excruciating pain, or who seem to have no hope at all, even in the midst of all their pain, and even in the midst of all what they experience, they are joyful people. We can experience that in some people. If you have not, I invite you to go, maybe to a cancer hospital, or maybe to an elder's home, where people are most of the time abandoned, or who seem to have no hope, but they are very joyful people. They will always welcome you with a smile, and that is what you and I are invited to do. My dear friends, St. Paul writes this letter while he is in a prison in Rome. there is no cause for him to be joyful there. But he tells the others to rejoice. What is his secret? It is his intimate relationship with God. When a person who is facing the circumstances as St. Paul is facing in a prison, when he tells us to rejoice, doesn't it seem that he is an insane person? Or does it seem that he is totally oblivious to reality? Is he inviting us to forget reality and go into a superficial world, like a fairy tale world? No. We are not asked to forget reality. We are asked to have a deep, intimate relationship with God. Intimate friendship, intimate relationship is something very hard, and it is something which we hardly experience, which we hardly see in these days. In our list of friends, St. Paul invites us to have God as the first friend, God as the most trusted friend. My dear friends, when we trust God, that Spirit always also urges us to action. We are not simply asked to experience this friendship, but it must be translated to action. In John the Baptist, when he says that the Messiah is near, when the Messiah is coming close, and the people ask, when they hear what John says, they ask, what should we do? And St. John exhorts them to action, tells them not to extort the innocent, not to cheat the innocent, and not to take or grab more than which you should take. In other words, he tells the people to work towards justice. And we have to do the same thing, my dear friends. If we want to experience this rejoicing, this joy, we are asked to do two things. First is to develop trust in God, and second, that trust must be translated into action, into helping others, into working for social justice, because there is much joy in giving, my dear friends, than getting. St. Paul also asks us not to be anxious. If I tell you not to be anxious during these times, some may laugh at me, because we are so preoccupied. We are so preoccupied with so many things. We have the COVID-19 pandemic on one side. We have our finances. We have our relationships. So many things to be anxious about. But we can't allow our anxieties to get a hold of us. A true Christian has no time to be anxious, but a true Christian must always rejoice in any circumstances which he or she should face. Therefore, my dear friends, the Gospel and the readings always invites us to rejoice. And this rejoice consists in our intimate relationship with God. And our relationship will always be translated into helping others. The Spirit of God will always lead us to help others to do what is right in their eyes. So, my dear friends, let us have the spirit of generosity and experience the joy of Jesus Christ. May God bless you.